Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing? Episode number 417, Drink Until You Podcast, the only podcast that lasts until the last drop. How the hell is your Sunday going? How the hell was your week? Hope everybody's okay. I hope you're safe out there. I am drinking. I thought I was kind of being weird when I made this, but it actually has a name to it. It's like a Cafe Caribbean. I basically just made my cup of coffee and poured a little bit of rum in there. I was like, I wonder how that would taste. I've never done that before. I usually do the White Russian. So the coffee's still warm, which is much needed because it is cold outside. So that's what I'm drinking for this episode. If you got them, drink them. Bottoms up. Cheers, everybody. And I gotta say, dude, I think I finally figured out how to make like the perfect espresso. So I use a little bit of monk fruit sweetener. That's just kind of, me trying to be healthier rather than just dousing it in sugar. Monk fruit supposedly doesn't spike your blood sugar, blah, blah, but you still get the sweetness. So anyways, I make the coffee in my French press. I pour that hot coffee over my monk fruit sweetener, and I was using like a little mixer to just kind of, stir it together. But recently, I've got out the little hand blender, and dude, it's a world of difference. I don't know. I guess it's mixing it better by using the hand blender, but even before I put the cream in, it changes colors. I guess it's just the monk fruit interacting with the coffee, but it actually turns like this light brown color and gets all frothy whenever I mix it with that blender, that handheld blender. And then I pour my cream in there, dude. It's coming out so freaking good. I've never made it like it changed the flavor even of the coffee. I'm drinking espresso. I just make basically like 2 or 3 cups of espresso on the weekend. And yeah, I've tried it hot. I've tried it cold. It's just delicious either way. And I know this kind of sounds gross, what I'm about to describe, but it's like, when you do the French press, I call it soot, like down at the bottom of the coffee cup. When you pour that coffee in there, naturally, I mean, you can't get every particle, strained out of there. So you get these little black pieces of ground coffee down in the bottom of the cup. Well, blending it now, I think it's taking those little pieces, and it's just like I said, mixing it all together. And it just like completely changed the flavor for me. It's so good, like so creamy even before I put the milk in. And yeah, dude, it's delicious. I'm going to have another drink. It's so good. I never knew just like blending it up like that could change the flavor, but man, and you can always smell the flavor whenever, like throughout the house, whenever I make it. But, it's not to say it tasted bad before. It just made the flavor even better. Like it really made it more pronounced, and then you add the cream in there and it just makes it rounds it out, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a coffee review person. All I know is I'm making it really well, and I'm super excited about that because it tastes delicious. So anyways, let's go ahead and have another drink. Cheers, everybody. Yeah, add a little rum to that. I can't even taste it. No big deal. I'm currently watching, I hope I turned it down before I started the episode in time. I'm currently watching Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood, Gene Hackman, 90s, like Western movie. This is probably I think only my second time watching, but I forgot the reason the whole story starts is literally, I mean, it was like at the whorehouse, and one of the cowboys was in the room with this girl, and he pulled down his pants, and she, laughed at it. It was like small, so she laughed at it. So he gets mad and he starts like cutting her face and stuff. And that's basically what like spurs on the whole movie was like this crime that happened. Basically, the sheriff of the town, Gene Hackman. I think they call him Little Bill. There's so many Wills and Bills and Bobs. It's like hard to keep everybody's name straight. But yeah, so they whip the guy who cut the girl, and obviously the women are like, that's not enough. Like, he should be dead. You got to hang this guy. That's not right. And basically the women get together, put their funds together, and basically put out a contract to have that guy killed that did it to one of their girls. So that's basically what the whole movie, I mean, that's where it starts. That's what's happening. That's why everybody's interacting. That's why, later on in the movie, Gene Hackman, who's the sheriff of the town, someone comes to call on that reward money for killing that guy. And Gene Hackman basically like makes an example out of him and just beats the shit out of him, and, for the whole town to see. And he calls it whore's gold. He's like, there is no whore's gold. Anyone who's heard that, you're not getting any money. Don't come to my town causing trouble, pretty much. It's just a really good movie. It was recommended to me by someone at work. I've been into these old Westerns. I watched They Call Me Trinity a couple of weeks back. I just found out there's so many like sequels to that movie. They're just popping up everywhere now. I think one of them, My Name Is Still Trinity. I don't know. They have like 4 or 5 of those movies, which I'm going to eventually get into. I actually really enjoyed those. They were like comical, old West lazy gunslinger. It was great. But Unforgiven is it's a good one too, man. Like, I love this version of Clint Eastwood in the movie. He's basically like a bad guy, kind of drunk turned farmer. And the reason he changed his life, turned his life around, was his, wife wouldn't put up with his BS, all the trouble he was causing. So she really, helped him turn his life around. So now they have this farm. She's passed away. Clint Eastwood's raising their 2 kids, and they help with the farm. Obviously, that's just what you did back then. I mean, there's like an older boy and a younger sister, and the boy can't be more than 7, 8 years old. And this guy's doing, this kid's doing full-on farm work. That's just how it was. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't have a choice. If you want to eat, you got to do what you got to do for the farm. So anyways, what makes this movie great is Clint Eastwood isn't his typical like gunslinger badass character. You know what I mean? He's actually, kind of lost a step there in that realm, and him trying to like get on his horse and ride it just to go help this kid who's basically going to cash in on that, the whore's gold, as Gene Hackman put it. Yeah, he's like getting on his horse and he can't. The horse is just like running away from him. He's like falling off of it, trying to get. Oh, it's so great. There's another scene in the movie where he's like, he's doing the farming, but the kid comes along and makes the offer to him. He's like, hey man, I'm going after this money. I heard about you. Come with me. We can make some good money. And Clint Eastwood's like, no, my wife has changed me. I'm not that way anymore. God rest her soul. And he's like trying to do all this. He's chasing pigs pretty much. He's got to separate two of the hogs. And he's dirty. He's falling down in the mud, and he's just thinking about this guy's offer, to make that extra money that would really help him and his kids out. And so he's like, all right. He's thinking about it. He goes and gets his pistol out and puts a can on like a stump and shooting at it. I mean, he wastes all 6 shots, and he misses the can every time. And the kids are standing out there watching him, like looking at each other like, this dude sucks. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a good shot. Why? What's going on? Why is he even trying to shoot this can? So then he puts down the pistol and goes inside to the house and grabs a shotgun, and obviously in one shot destroys the can with the shotgun, because you don't have to be nearly as accurate. You know what I mean? That shot kind of spreads out, but it's not a nice change up, and I think that's what made it such a big movie back in the 90s. Was the fact that Clint Eastwood is not the badass that he is in every other movie. You know what I mean? Like, he sucks at riding a horse now. He can't shoot a pistol, has to, lean on a shotgun to even make a shot. It's fucking awesome. It's a great movie. So yeah, I'm watching this one a second time through. I would highly recommend it, man. I'm trying to get all these Westerns. I know, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. Some of the ones Google recommended for me when I'm searching, what are the best like Western movies? The Unforgiven was on there. The Searchers was on there. The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, which I've seen. I just, I couldn't give you any detail. Tombstone was on there, of course. I couldn't give you any detail just because I've seen it so long ago. I really need to go back and watch it again. But yeah, this is a good one, man. I love it. It's kind of a unique story. It all, like I said, it all just centers around that one incident. That's what causes all the drama for everybody in the town. So anyways, let's move on. It was UFC is not quite back yet, but we did have some BKFC, some bare knuckle fighting championship. I did catch some of that. It was just nice to see some violence. You know what I mean? Like, UFC's been, by next week, it'll have been like almost 7 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, it's been a while going into the new year. So yeah, I needed some sanctioned violence, and BKFC definitely provided that. On top of all the hockey I watch, of course. I was trying, I've been getting into racing more. So I was trying to get into the Chili Bowl when it just happened. I think it was like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 4 days or something like that. Well, I didn't catch any during the week. So Saturday, I'm like, all right, I'll turn it on. I know this is like the championship day, basically, when they're going to decide. And I turn it on. It's not on. And I look at the schedule. I'm like, these dudes start this crap at like 7:30 in the morning on a Saturday morning. Like, there's no way I'm catching that. There's just no way. Like, I remember when UFC did that, they were over in, like, I don't know, another part of the world where their daytime is our nighttime and our nighttime is their daytime. And it was like the UFC fight was at like 5 in the morning. And somehow I had an alarm set because I really wanted to see a couple of the fights. And I had the alarm set, and I woke up, turned it on, and it's playing in the background, but like, I'm still laying in bed, and I'm just missing all of it anyway, because I'm just like fall back into sleep. And I wake up and there's another fight going on. I'm like, oh crap, how many did I miss? And then I fall asleep during that way. It was not a good scenario. So yeah, 7:30 in the morning. I think the big race was at like 9:30, maybe 10. Yeah, I'm not waking up for that, man. I didn't know they would even do it that early. Like, I come from like a very hockey centric, like sports watching, boxing centric. You could throw UFC in there because it's an event. You know what I mean? Like, you don't do your main event at 8:30 in the morning. You start at 5 and end it at about 9 or 10. You know what I mean? Like, you get the prelims out of, I don't know. It just seems like a weird thing to me. I'm not sure. I don't know. But yeah, I missed it. I didn't see any of the Chili Bowl. I have no idea what happened. I am interested. I couldn't catch it this time around. So, but yeah, I'm totally going to have to give my friend shit as I'm burping all over the mic. Good Lord. I'm going to have to give my friend shit because she kept asking me if I was going to watch it. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to flip it on. But 8:30 in the morning, bro, like, on a Saturday? Like, I wake up that early to go to work during the week. There's no way in hell I'm waking up that early on a Saturday. It's just not going to happen. And like I said, with the UFC story, even when I do, it still doesn't work out. You know what I mean? So, anyways, let's have another drink. Cheers, everybody. A quick shout out Just kind of randomly looking. Oh, here's the part where he's he's trying to get on the horse, but he can't do it. It's so awesome. I love it. Shout out to my Colorado listeners this month, outpacing my home state of Texas, surprisingly. But I cannot wait to go back to Colorado, man. That was like my Christmas gift to myself a couple of years back, was to make the 8-hour drive into Trinidad, Colorado. Pretty much just right over the border. And it was just such a beautiful drive. I mean, when I got there, it's just like, I remember specifically, like, I was like rounding this mountain on the highway. You know, it kind of like elevates you slowly. So you don't really, it's not like you're driving your car up the side of a mountain. It kind of gives you, you know, the road starts elevating over time. So I remember this specific point where I'm just, you know, on the highway and I'm rounding this mountain. And then it just comes to a clearing and you just see it's like a postcard, man. You see all the mountains in the background with the snow-capped tips and all. And it's just like, it's so like awesome, dude. So I get there and, you know, like, you guys know I'm just so into the Native American thing. And obviously Colorado was a big place for, you know, Native American history and stuff like that. So I start, you know, I'm in my hotel room and I start the first night, you know, I got there super late. So I stayed at a Motel 6 and then I decided to switch over. I saw a tower, I think it's 64, 67. I can't remember the number. But it totally looks like a 70s style motel. You know what I mean? Like, fit my mood perfectly. So I'm searching that night, sitting in the Motel 6. I'm like, oh, I'm going to stay there. You know, per night was really reasonable. You know, it looked cool. It was kind of situated pretty close to like a giant Walmart, you know, so I could run and get food as needed, blah, blah, whatever. But, yeah, dude, I remember even just driving there, like, I shouldn't have done it. You know, it was kind of a spur of the moment. Like, I need to give myself a Christmas present. And dude, I drove 8 hours there, checked in, like I said, Motel 6 first. And then the next 3 nights I stayed at Tower 64, which was significantly more fun, in my opinion. You know, and I went out exploring and stuff. Like I said, I was looking up Native American sites. I'd drive out one day and go sit in a spot and maybe watch a video or read an article, you know, that was close to where something happened, drive to another spot, you know, learn about what happened there. It was really, really fun. And I'm just doing all this by myself. I don't mind that at all. That was fun as hell. I could do that anytime. But the problem was when I got back, like, I looked under my hood and my belt, like what I would assume is my serpentine belt, was like, the only word I have to describe it is flaky. It was like flaking as it was rotating. And I'm like out in the middle of nowhere in the mountains of Colorado, exploring these Native American sites, like with my car running with this flaky ass belt that could snap anytime. So I'd have to call out a mechanic, which who knows how much that would cost. I'd have to call out a mechanic. He'd have to bring my serpentine belt. He'd have to put it on for me to even like get back home. But dude, I got so lucky. It was like nothing happened. I explored the whole time unknowing that my car could have just died at any second. I made it all the 8-hour drive back to Dallas. I made that drive back. No problems. And I just, like, once I saw that belt, I was like, thank you, God, for not stranding me in this state I'm not from, in the middle of nowhere with people I don't know. You know, like, it could have gone so bad. So I've definitely taken note of that for my next trip to Colorado. I'm checking everything down to the windshield washer fluid. You know what I mean? Like, I'm checking everything before I leave. But I do need to get back to Colorado, dude. I had so much fun, and I really didn't even go that deep into Colorado. I maybe drove an hour past Trinidad, just kind of searching for some of those Native American sites. But yeah, as far as my voice cracks, and it does it again. Let me take a drink. But yeah, thank you to the Colorado listeners. I appreciate you outpacing my home state. That doesn't happen very often, or hasn't happened very often over the years. So yeah, definitely appreciate that. And it just must be the I would have to assume the Colorado Avalanche talk that I have on here from time to time. And let me just point this out. I do not hate the Colorado Avalanche. Like the Dallas Stars are my top team. Of course, they will forever be my top team. But I enjoyed watching Colorado, when I was growing up, like Sakic and Forsberg and Waugh and like all those guys. Adam Foote. God, I fucking hated that guy. Yeah. Dude, I enjoyed, and I remember the hockey stick that I picked out, because we'd play street hockey and stuff on foot. We'd have to play on foot because I can't skate very well on rollerblades. So we would play on foot, and, of course, we'd go to the sports store and, like, pick out our hockey equipment and stuff. And, of course, you naturally just gravitate toward the goalie equipment just for the mask and the pads and shit. But yeah, I remember buying my hockey stick, and the reason I picked it when I was a kid was it was literally the Colorado Avalanche. I think it was a Soho hockey stick, but it was the Colorado Avalanche colors, and I fucking loved it. I played with that stick like every time we played. That was like my main. No, I had a red Soho stick. I can't remember who the Colorado colored theme stick was. I can't remember who that was made by, but that was my main stick. The Soho I would pull out every so often and just kind of play around with it. But if we were playing like a game and trying to beat each other, yeah, it was totally that Colorado. So I have a lot of love for a lot of NHL teams and really a lot of baseball teams. But anyways, I'm saying all this to say thank you to the Colorado listeners. I appreciate you. Cheers to you. Let's have a drink. So moving on to the hockeys in my last 8 minutes since I missed it. Last week there was just so much stuff going on. Guess who's back? Back again. Ricky B is back. Rick Bowness, now the head coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets. And I'm so happy to report to you guys that Ricky B is undefeated so far, 3-0. And maybe I've never said this before. Like, I have this friend who's like weirded out by how much I love Rick Bowness, which I think is kind of funny. But I just love him because you don't get a lot of positive coaches. You know what I mean? Like I could read his lips in his first game back there after he got hired. They fired the other guy. I can't even remember who it was. But I was reading his lips on the bench as he's like hollering at his guys. And he's saying things like, we're doing a really great job on, and I couldn't figure out what he was saying. And he was like, keep it up. You guys are doing great. Like just pumping energy and pumping, good vibes into this team. I would go out on a limb and say that I bet the majority of the Dallas Stars players that were on Rick Bowness's team and also other coaches' team, the other coaches' teams before him, I would venture to say that I bet a lot of those players, their favorite coach to play for was Rick Bowness. And it's because of that attitude. It's because of that positivity that I really like him. You don't see that a lot of the time. You know what I mean? You got the complete opposite. And I'm sure he's great with his players, but like Patrick Waugh, so to speak, for the Islanders now, coaching back there. But, he's going to stick up for his players, but I could see him like getting in a player's ass too for like fucking up consistently. You know what I mean? Like, And that just doesn't seem to be Rick Bowness' style, and I really appreciate that. You know what I mean? Like, I appreciate him leading his men in a positive way, and on top of it, it really makes the players want to play for him. You know what I mean? Like, I would want to play for him. I can't skate worth a shit, but I'd play for Bowness. Sure, if I could make the team. I think he'd be a great coach to play for. Now his record, which is what people always point to as a head coach, isn't like stellar or anything, but you know, it is what it is. And here's the thing is, like, I'm talking about his career. You know what I mean? I'm talking about the things that he's done. You know, my friend was arguing with me about the things that he's done in the NBA. Rick Bowness doesn't know who we are, and we're talking about him for a reason, because he made it to the highest level, because he became a head coach, and he does it positively. I think that's such a great, like, role model, which is wild to say for me, because you guys know me over the years. You've heard me bitch about, you know, guys being too soft and, like, you know, not pulling out the Troy Aikman and cussing your team out if they're fucking up. I love that too. And don't get me wrong. And I think there's a, you know, there's a balance. You can't do one or the other consistently all the time. You know, I just respect him, man. I respect him. And I think, I know the hockey world respects him. You know what I mean? Like, so anyways, undefeated in his comeback. The Sabres, man. Sabres are still doing their thing. Still super exciting. Happy for Lindy Ruff. Though Buffalo did lose to the Panthers, but that was a well-fought game. It was 4-3. The Panthers won that one. Another game up here last week. Tampa Bay versus the Flyers. Tampa Bay wins that one 5-1. And that made 10 in a row for Tampa, which, by the way, my Dallas Stars, coming up here in a little bit, are about to face off against the Tampa Bay Lightning, who are surging right now, which is not good for us because we're not surging right now. We're trying to figure out what the hell we're doing, what direction we're going. What else? The Devils over the Wild, 5-2. That was the final score. Oilers over the Hawks, 4-1. Not even close there. My Stars do beat the Kings, 3-1. A few nights back. Toronto over the Avalanche, 4-3 in OT. That was great. Yeah, there's my tweet about Rick Bowness pumping up his team. I love it. Yeah, their first win was over the Flames, 5-3. Lightning beat the Penguins in a shootout. That would make 11 for them, judging by my tweets here before. The Predators beat the Oilers, man. Yeah, 4-3. And then, yeah, Predators, that's a pretty tough game, but they've been looking a little bit better. They lose last night, but yeah, I mean they're looking a little bit better. They're pushing our division, the Stars, the Jets, the Wild, the Avalanche. I mean, it's packed, dude. It's so packed. It's crazy. Yeah, Jets over the Islanders. That was probably the second Jets game I've actually sat down and watched this season, even though they were definitely on my list to watch, of teams to watch. The Mammoth, dude, I'm starting to watch. Like, they're a good team. Like, I'm not gonna lie, they are good. They just seem to be tenacious and, like, step up their game at the right time. Who did they beat? Yeah, Toronto 6-1 a couple of nights back. My Stars fall to the Ducks 3-1. That's not fun. What else? Buffalo over Philly. I got a 2-for-1 that night, because Buffalo's on my list of teams I'm watching this season. The Panthers are on that list. The Jets are on that list. Philly is on that list, of course. So yeah, 2-for-1 that night. Buffalo comes out on top. Let's see. Knights over the Kings in OT. Let's see. Utah 2, Stars 1. That was a final. Oh yeah, I got to talk about this real quick. The Sense Arena 26. I guess you get those like VR headsets, and it's like a training program for like hockey players, like up and coming hockey players, which I'm not an up and coming hockey player. Like I just said earlier, I can't skate worth a damn. I can go forward. I just can't stop. I can't skate backwards. Never accomplished that. I can just go forward and grab onto your child's little frame, ice skating frame that they're using to hold themselves up as I'm falling. I'm just a really bad skater. But yeah, the Sense Arena looks badass. You can do it on skates or you can do it on foot. And it's basically like, it seems like little training packs. Like if you're a D-man, there's probably a list of training packs. If you're a forward, there's a list of training packs to help you shoot. If you're a goalie, it's like so freaking cool. So I wouldn't even get it to like try out for the team. Obviously, I know I'm not ever going to be there. That's not what it's for, but it seems like a cool like workout mentally and physically. I don't know. I'm kind of interested in it after seeing it yesterday. It looks pretty fun. What else? Oh yeah, dude, real quick before we go. I love this, dude. I was watching the Sabres Minnesota game, obviously, with an interest. Obviously, I'm already cheering for the Sabres, but Minnesota, I mean, they're just nipping at the Stars' heels. I mean, it is so tight in this division. It's ridiculous. So, wanting Buffalo to beat them, I'm obviously interested in the game. But, you know, if the Wild win, it's not going to be the end of the world. I just want to see a good hockey game. Well, there was one point in time where one of the Sabres players was like coming after one of the Wild players, you know, and they played it in slow motion. And the Wild player put up his left hand as like a jab, and basically the Sabres player ran into that jab and busted his nose open. And so, you know, obviously there's going to be a power play happening out of that. You can't punch someone as they're coming, you know, even with the glove on. So there's a power play coming out of that. But the guy's over, you know, sitting on the bench, the Sabres guy whose nose is bleeding, and there's the trainer behind him, like getting the glue ready. They basically, you know, seal it up with glue so it doesn't bleed anymore, and he can play the rest of the game, no problem. But the trainer, you know, in that time when he's like getting the glue ready, the refs are deciding like maybe we need to take a second look at this play and see what happened. It might be cause for like more penalty minutes. And so like as this is happening, we're like staring at the player bleeding on the bench, and the trainer's behind him like taking his sweet time getting the glue ready to put on the guy. And meanwhile, the Buffalo Sabres guy is just bleeding down his nose, you know, and this is all happening, like I said, while the refs are making a decision. And I just loved it, man. These are just things you don't think about. Not only, I mean, you think about the coach all the time and the assistant coaches and the players, you know, and the goalie coach. It's like, yes, it's well known, and, you know, like they're all on the same team. They're all working for the same goal. They're all trying to win that cup. I mean, it's basically what it's all about. But you never really think about how the trainer is like on the team too, and he's willing to assist in any way possible. He was totally willing to let his players sit there and bleed out on the bench while the refs are making a decision for more penalty time. Absolutely, let it bleed. Let them see the blood coming out, and then maybe that'll influence the decision. But it's just like you don't think about. This is kind of going back to what I was talking about last week. Like humans will find any legal/illegal way to gain an advantage. You name the sport, you name the business, you name what, it doesn't matter. That's just what humans do. We'll look for any way to make it easier, faster, better, efficient, blah, blah, blah. And you just don't think about like the trainers and stuff. They're on the team too. They're willing to, do whatever it takes to get them. It was just, I love it, man. They're like family. They travel together. You just don't think about the trainers as much as you think about everybody else, and how a trainer actually, in certain situations, like this one I'm pointing out, actually has a lot of influence in the game. You know what I mean? Like letting him sit there and bleed while they're making an extra call is the choice to make. That was the way you helped your team that day. Not only fixing the player, but that strategic. I just love it, man. It was awesome. It had me laughing while I was watching it because I knew exactly what he was doing. And you can see the trainer behind the guy bleeding, and he's like got the glue and the syringe ready, and it looks like he's mixing something. It was awesome. It was so great, but I don't think they actually called an extra penalty, but it was worth the try. You know what I mean? Like that's what it said to me. It was like, yeah, these trainers are a part of the team too, man. Like any victory these players get is a victory for a trainer, is a victory for a coach, is a victory for a suit sitting in the office that, never even shows up to the rink. You know what I mean? So that was really neat to see. Sabres come out on top in that one. No, I'm sorry. Sabres lose that one in OT, 5-4. They still get the point. The Rangers-Flyers game last night, I mean, it was just a drumming. 6-3, Rangers come out on top in that one. There's some BKFC. Ducks beat the Kings in OT yesterday. There's me calling out Rick Bowness for being undefeated. They beat the Penguins too. I mean, in a shootout. That's not an easy team to beat. So I don't think they're playing today. I know the Stars, and it's like 2 more games. I guess they're doing that because of the football going on or whatever, but who gives a shit? I'm not watching football, man. I'm watching UFC, BKFC, racing, if I can get a good time. Hockey, of course, baseball when it comes around, whatever. I still haven't watched much basketball. I've been dying to see a Detroit Pistons game, and it's just like every time the Pistons are playing, and then my top team now, Oklahoma City Thunder, every time they're playing, and there's like 15 hockey games. It's like, dude, I would rather see the hockey games. You know what I mean? Like, I'll flip over an intermission to watch a little bit of the basketball game, but it doesn't take precedent in my life. So anyways, how much we got? A lot of this left. I've been talking more than drinking, huh? But yeah, guys, I've been working on my YouTube shorts. I'm having a blast with them, man. I never knew I loved video editing until I started doing this, but it's actually enjoyable. Does it take a long time? Yes. Dude, I remember, I think it was last week I'm doing my Red Dead Redemption releases. I'm basically doing like a series, like a 6 to 8 part series on each like wilderness area on the map, basically the northern areas. And so I'll do a 6 or 7 to 8 part series, whatever. And I had to edit last Sunday to put out like part 2 or something like that. And I started at like 8 o'clock, and I'm not even kidding. Like, it's so time consuming. Like, I'm having fun doing it, but by the time I looked up, it was like 11 o'clock, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, there goes the rest of my night. I was supposed to like live stream on Twitch and, play some Rocket League and play some Fight Night and, get the Twitch viewer crowd in for the week, since I'm not streaming all the time. And it just didn't happen. I mean, by the time I finished, got it ready to upload, it was just, I'm like, I'm going to bed. I'm not going to stream now, So it is time consuming, very fun, but time consuming. Working on learning some musical parts, as I talked about last week. I'm going to put together some musical shorts of me playing drums or guitar or bass to just songs I love. I am limited by, I think it has to be under a minute in order to like sync music with it. So I'm limited there, but working out the numbers, how I'm going to do it, how I'm going to make it all work. The hardest part, honestly, is the camera setup. That part I hate. I absolutely hate setting up the camera. It feels like I can never get the full drum set in the shot, or I can never get the full, like, what my right hand is playing and my left hand is playing on guitar. It's just a hassle to set up the camera, or I put it so far back it feels like you're watching from outer space. It's hard, and I'm trying to be more patient with it so I can get a good angle and just like leave it there, not ever have to touch it again. But I know that's just not how it works. I'm eventually going to have to take the recording device out, upload what I record. It's just that part's the hassle. That part I do hate. I hate it so much I wouldn't do it, but I would consider hiring someone to set up some damn cameras for me. Like, this is bullshit. But anyways, that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys for listening. As always, don't drink and drive. Treat yourself to an Uber. Treat yourself to a Lyft. Treat yourself to a Waymo. Supposedly Waymo's here in Dallas. Don't go take a Waymo today, that's for sure. They got downtown Dallas. I just saw a picture of it. The highway. They got it shut down. They got it torn up. They're supposed to have it done by like 5 a.m. Monday morning. It doesn't look like it's going to be ready. And that's going to be a clusterfuck, especially, with all the people trying to get to work. Oh my God, it's going to be hell. It's going to be hell. So if you're in DFW and you have to be at work at like 7, you better leave at like 5 a.m. There's always back roads, but everybody says that and everybody uses the back roads. So now I'm not stuck in traffic on the highway. I'm stuck in traffic on the back roads, which is even worse because there's red lights and it's just fucking horrible. But yeah, I don't know what the deal with Waymo is. I need to look into it, see if it's actually up and running. But anyways, let's finish these off. If you got them, drink them, bottoms up. Cheers, everybody. It really does not feel like I talked for 42 minutes. I still have so much I didn't even go over. It's ridiculous. So many things happening. UFC is next weekend, by the way. I'm super excited for that. And I did happen to... they put out something on Paramount kind of like highlighting last year's fights and highlighting what's going to happen this year, at least the first part of the year. I watched a little bit of it. It got me hyped, but it was not the same as watching an event, which I'm super excited for next weekend. But yeah, last drink, everybody. All right, that's it for me. Thank you all for listening. I love you all. I will talk to you next week. Bye.